Good evening. I'd like to call to order the October 18, 2022 Little Rock City Board of Directors meeting. I'd like to welcome those in attendance as well as those watching online. We do see City Director Ken Richardson via virtual. Well, now I ask Madam Clerk to give the roll.
Director Miller.
Here.
Director Richardson.
Here.
Director Webb. Here. Director Peck. Here. Director Wright.
Here.
Director Wyrick. Present. Director Compuris. Director Phillips. Director Adcock. Present. Vice Mayor Hines.
Present.
Mayor Scott.
Present. We'll now ask Director Adcock to please give us the invocation.
Please bow. Our dear, most gracious Heavenly Father, we come tonight to thank you, Lord, for all the blessings you have given us and for being with us through this day. We ask your blessings upon all of our city employees. Keep them safe, and Heavenly Father, be with them as they do their job for the citizens of this city. We ask you to bless our city and to give us peace and give us kindness in our hearts in everything that we do and say to each other. We ask in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Please stand for a pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States to the nation under God, indivisible, liberty. Mayor.
I see Director Wright, then Director Miller.
It's now the appropriate time to ask for a deferral on item 20. I'm hearing from a lot of my constituents who are concerned about this iteration of this policy, and I just think we need to massage it more, because the more questions I get, the more confused I get, and I want to make sure that we're protecting our neighborhoods, and right now I don't have that assurance.
Yes, ma'am. I understand that to be a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion, a second. All those in favor?
Point of order, how long,
Can you get time certain?
time certain?
Okay, this is what, October, can we defer it until our meeting, second meeting in November?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that way I can get some more feedback and be clear that the neighborhoods are protected, and then make assurances to my constituents who have expressed these concerns.
Yes, ma'am. The motion is to defer into the second meeting in November, second board meeting in November. I understand there to be a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it.
And Mayor, just for the general public, that would be November 15th.
November 15th. Ayes have it. We'll defer that to November 15th. Director Miller.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I want to make a motion to defer ordinances 15 and 16 for 2 weeks.
15 and 16 for 2 weeks.
Second.
Is there a motion? I mean, that's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it. Items 15 and 16 will be deferred until the next 2 weeks. Mr. Moore, what's that date?
November 1st.
November 1st. Thank you. We have deferrals also for items 12 and 19. So for the public, 12, 15, 16, and 20 have all been deferred.
And 19.
And 19. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it. Madam Clerk, if you would, please read the consent agenda.
The consent agenda consists of a resolution that in Little Rock, Arkansas, resolution number 15,300 of October 6, 2020, to amend the contract price with Mid-South Sales in an amount not to exceed $1,500,000 to account for the increased cost of fuel and gasoline for city vehicles. And for the purposes, a resolution authorized the city manager to enter into a contract extension with the McPherson Companies Incorporated in amount not to exceed $150,000 for the purchase of oils and lubricants for use in all city vehicles and equipment. And for the purposes, a resolution to transfer the title of the properties located at 2119 South Martin Street, 9200 Atkins Street, 1619 Johnson Street, and 1623 Johnson Street from the city of Little Rock, Arkansas to Springer and Springer LLC to be used for neighborhood revitalization programs and for the purposes. A resolution authorized the mayor and city clerk to execute any documents necessary to purchase 3 residential parcels in Ward 6 for an amount not to exceed $70,000, utilizing Home Investment Partnership Program funds and for other purposes. A resolution authorized the city manager to enter into a contract with Optiv Security Incorporated in amount not to exceed $147,735.48, plus applicable taxes and fees for the purchase of 58 checkpoint firewalls for the Information Technology Department and for the purposes, a portion of the funding for the 3/8 capital improvement sales tax. A resolution to authorize the city manager to enter into a contract with Volcourt Incorporated in amount not to exceed $127,575 for acquisition services for the Tri-Creek Greenway Park and for the purposes funding from the 3/8 capital improvement sales tax. A resolution authorized the city manager to enter into contract with Redstone Construction Group in amount not to exceed $586,553.64 for the construction of roadway improvements at Interstate Park and for other purposes. A resolution to certify local government endorsement of GT Marketplace LLC to participate in the Arkansas Tax Back programs is authorized by Arkansas Code Section 15-4-2706D of the Consolidated Incentive Act of 2003 and for the purposes. That concludes the consent agenda.
Move for the adoption of the consent agenda.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it. Madam Clerk, if you now read item number 9, grouped items.
An ordinance to amend the master street plan of ordinance number 20,507 to add alternative design standards on Fraser Pike and for the purposes. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a planned commercial district titled Wellington Hills Center Revised PCD located at 15,400 Chenal Parkway, Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a planned development commercial titled Telco Federal Credit Union PDC, located at 1400 South Bowman Road, Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes. An ordinance to establish the rate of taxation of property for the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, to be collected in the year 2023 for various funds of the city of Little Rock, to declare an emergency and for the purposes. An ordinance to condemn certain structures in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas as structural fire and health hazards, to provide for summary abatement procedures, to direct city staff to take such action as necessary to raise and remove such structures, to declare an emergency and for other purposes. First reading.
We suspend the rules and place on second reading.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it. Second reading.
An ordinance to amend the master street plan to add alternative design standard on Fraser Pike. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development and establish a planned commercial development titled Wellington Hills Center Revised PCD located at 15,400 Chenal Parkway. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a planned development commercial titled Telco Federal Credit Union PDC located at 1400 South Bowman Road. An ordinance to establish the rate of taxation of property for the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, to be collected in the year 2023 for various funds of the city of Little Rock, to declare an emergency. An ordinance to condemn certain structures in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas as structural fire and health hazards, to provide for summary abatement procedures, to direct city staff to take such action as is necessary to raise and remove said structures, to declare an emergency. Second reading.
We suspend the rules and place on third and final reading.
There's a motion and a second. There's a motion and a second. I'm gonna come to you, Director Richardson, after the third reading. There's a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it. Third reading.
Was that a nay, Director Richardson?
Yes, ma'am.
An ordinance to amend the master street plan to add an alternative design standard on Fraser Pike. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development and establish a planned commercial development titled Wellington Hills Center Revised PCD located at 15,400 Chenal Parkway. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a planned development commercial titled Telco Federal Credit Union PDC located at 1400 South Bowman Road. An ordinance to establish the rate of taxation of property for the city of Little Rock, Arkansas to be collected in the year 2023 for various funds of the city of Little Rock, to declare an emergency. An ordinance to condemn certain structures in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas with structural, fire, and health hazards, to provide for summary abatement procedures, to direct city staff to take such action as is necessary to raise and remove said structures, to declare an emergency. Third and final reading.
We now have 3 readings before we take the vote. Director Richardson.
Yes, Mayor, just two quick questions. One, typically we've had pictures or displays of the structures that have been condemned. Is there any particular reason why we don't have those? We haven't seen those with this particular group that we're talking about. And secondly, although most of the demolition properties or vacant or boarded up structures are located in wards 1 and 2. I think there's one that's indicated located in Ward 2. I think it's Ward 1. That's the one on 33rd Street. So for accuracy's sake, can we make that change, Susan, to reflect that that's Ward 1, not Ward 2?
I will have housing make that change.
Okay. And is there any particular reason, Bruce or Mayor, why we haven't seen pictures of these structures? We didn't see them last week and didn't see them tonight. Why we're not seeing those as we typically do?
We've got them. They just, if you request to see them, I mean, you want to show the picture?
Well, in the past, haven't. Okay, so we have them, and we can display them. We just chose not to because no one requested that they be displayed. Is that what I'm understanding you to say?
Dr. Richardson, I believe most of the times they're shown at the agenda meeting, but we can show them, Alec.
That's not fine, Bruce. We didn't show them at the agenda meeting. That's fine. That's no big problem. Let's just go ahead and take the vote. There's no other questions. And Susan has made the adjustment and correction that I was concerned about.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it. We have 2 emergency clauses for items 13 and 14. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it. Item 15, 16 was deferred. Madam Clerk, if you would, please read item number 17.
An ordinance to amend the land use plan in the Geyer Springs West Planning District at 9204 Chico Road in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, from residential low density to neighborhood commercial and for other purposes. First reading.
We suspend the rules and place on second reading.
There's a motion, a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Ayes have the second reading.
An ordinance to amend the land use plan in the Geyer Springs West Planning District at 9204 Chico Road in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, from residential low density to neighborhood commercial. Second reading.
We suspend the rules and place on third and final reading.
Second.
There's a motion, a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it. Third reading.
An ordinance to amend the land use plan in the Geyer Springs West Planning District at 9204 Chico Road in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, from residential low density to neighborhood commercial. Third and final reading.
We had 3 readings. Director Adcock.
Yes, Mayor, I would like a presentation on this, please.
Yes, ma'am. Director Collins.
Aaron.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the board, Director Adcock. Al, if we could bring up the zoning map for that item. So we can kind of see the general location. If we could zoom in a little bit. This item, along with, I believe, the next item, which is the actual zoning, this is the land use that you're looking at. And what the proposal is to change this property to a land use of neighborhood commercial. So now this is kind of the zoning. You see what's around it. C3 across the road, PCD. Then you have planned office development to the north, and you do have residential that's adjacent to the west. So Al, if we could bring up the land use map. So currently, it is showing residential low density for it, and the proposal for this one is to take it to neighborhood commercial. Staff felt like this was a good transition just for what is on Chico Road in that location, and then also what is adjacent. If you read the definition of what we would say like a land use classification is for neighborhood commercial, is the neighborhood category includes limited small-scale commercial development in close proximity to the neighborhood to provide goods and services to that neighborhood market area. And that would align with what we were discussing with the applicant and what they proposed, which was C1, and that's the zoning that would align with neighborhood commercial. So the intent is to be smaller scale, to be utilized by the neighborhood, and that was the neighborhood commercial. If you're on Chico and just look at what's there, commercial, as I said, is across the roadway. We always look at when something comes in for redevelopment, what could it be in the future? I don't necessarily think that commercial strips need to be along all major roadways, and Chico is one of them, but a mix of lighter commercial, heavier commercial uses, office. If residential is there, it would be more like you see, in my opinion, on Highway 10, where they're larger tracks or off the road. The closer that you get to a major roadway, that really limits the use of what a front yard as a residence would be. So that's why we supported that change from residential low density to neighborhood commercial. And that would align with that C1 use. Are you wanting more explanation, more of the other zoning case 2, or just the land use change?
But my problem with this is, first of all, it's right in front of a small neighborhood. It's one of the neighborhoods that's going to qualify for targeted community dollars. It's a neighborhood that Director Wyrick has tried to work with for a number of years to get some things in there. This is for this lady to have a restaurant in there. Right now, she's operating a food truck on that property. And some of the people in Southwest thinks it's going to become a site for several food trucks. We would like to see it kept as residential so that this neighborhood would not have a restaurant and possibility one that would serve liquor at some time right in front of the houses in a neighborhood that just needs some time to get back on its feet.
Understand.
So I would appreciate the board giving this little neighborhood in Ward 7 some time to start seeing some things done that can be done with the dollars that we're going to be putting into it.
Thank you, Director Adcock. Director Richardson?
Director Collins, what was the vote on this issue? I don't have an agenda in front of me here. What was the vote on that?
The vote was from the Planning Commission 9-4, 1 against, and then we have 1 vacant position.
And did we have any opposition from the neighborhood?
We did. Mr. Troy Leahy spoke in opposition. When he did, he said that he was representing Southwest Little Rock United for Progress, and he spoke in opposition to it. And then that was it for the opposition, and then commissioners talked about it, Brooks, Vogel, and Thomas.
Well, there are 2 questions, and they both may be unfair to you, but the first question is, could this approval of this item be a foundation for bringing that neighborhood back to life, as Joan just so eloquently said? And also, does this necessarily automatically eliminate it for targeted development finance initiatives process that we're talking about? Because that group hadn't even met yet, and we don't even know what the criteria is, so I don't know how we can speculate that this would automatically rule them out. So in your best guesstimation, could this help lay a foundation for improvement for this particular neighborhood? And secondly, would this eliminate that area for that funding that we're talking about in terms of revitalizing certain parts of wards 1, 2, 6, and 7?
Let me address the last question first. It would not eliminate. Targeted neighborhood did not necessarily specify, it could be infrastructure, it could be several things. As you say, that's not fully been defined yet. When the committee brings that to the board, there will be several items that are on there. So, and they've talked about zoning code reform and some other types of items to be on there. As far as revitalizing a neighborhood for it, developments can revitalize it. In Director Adcock's statement, it can be residential, just a redo of some residential developments, a replat and a redo of areas that maybe have some vacant lots, but also commercial is part of that. I will just bring a point out of revitalizing an area of everybody's, is a well-known area now. It's been several years since it's been done, but if you remember, Toys R Us went out, was out of that building for several years in that development, and nothing was coming in. And then Trader Joe's proposed coming into that area, and it really revitalized that area. It used to, about half that parking lot maybe was utilized even in, when Toys R Us was gone, a holiday season coming up, and now when you drive there, it's not just the Trader Joe's parking area that's getting full, it's other areas in that strip center that is being filled because it got redeveloped. And so commercial can drive it. Changing this from residential low density to neighborhood commercial, could it drive the redevelopment of the entire neighborhood? Probably not. It would, the only reason that we was supporting the rezoning and the land use is just looking at what that property can be potentially on Chico Road. Is that a viable residential property that somebody would want to buy, sell, you know, for, I wouldn't really say forever, but for a potential long period of time to keep it residential? I mean, that's what we looked at.
So to your point, to make sure I understand it correctly, approval of this could actually be a magnet for some of those targeted development dollars we're talking about. Actually, it could help enhance that area's ability to attract some funding for targeted redevelopment, if I understood you correctly.
Well, I didn't say that it necessarily could attract it. I said that it would not exclude
No.
it.
It wouldn't. Yeah, no. Well, that's me being hopefully optimistic that it could be based on what you said. You're right. You didn't say that. Thanks for the correction. But in fact, it could be a magnet for some of those dollars to help enhance that area. If we're talking about targeted development. That's it, Mayor. I have no more questions.
Thank you so much, Director Richardson. Director Wyrick.
Thank you, Mayor. Joan has already brought up some issues in regards to this location. Neighborhood commercial could possibly work in some of this area, but this is very close to residences. This is in my targeted neighborhood area. They're a fragile neighborhood, and I do believe that if we put these food trucks, which is what I understand is going to happen, is multiple food trucks on this site, then I think that would be a deterrent to what we want to do in this area, quality of life. And I don't think it would help the area. I hear a lot about all the numbers of food trucks that are in the area, and a lot of the residents do not like them. So I agree with Joan. I'm not supportive of this application.
Seeing no other questions, make sure. Yeah, other comments? Don't have any agenda cards for this item. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay.
Nay.
Nays have it, nays have it. Apologize. We'll now go to item number,
Mayor, we're having one member virtual, so we need actually, by our own rules, we need to have a roll call on that one.
thank you so much, Director, Vice Mayor Hines. Roll call.
Director Miller,
Nay?
Director Richardson,
Aye.
Director Webb, Director Peck, Director Wright,
No,
Director Wyrick,
No.
Director Compuris, Director Phillips, Director Adcock,
No.
Vice Mayor Hines.
No.
1 aye, 8 nays, and 1 absent.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, if you would, please read item number 18.
An ordinance to reclassify property
Mayor,
located in
point
the
of order.
city.
Yes, sir.
Without the passage of 17, I think reading of 18 becomes moot. The city attorney can really clarify that since the land use plan failed, the rezoning can't go forward.
We will not hear 18. Seeing no others, we have nothing else on the agenda for today. We'll now go
Mayor?
to, what,
before we get into citizen communication, I'd like a point of privilege as a member of the board.
yes, ma'am?
Last night, I attended the John Bear Neighborhood Association meeting. This is a neighborhood that meets regularly every third Monday of the month. And last night, a group of individuals that do not live in that neighborhoods attended that meeting, and they disrupted it. And I know this is an election season. However, there has to be some respect for the hard work that people have put in for many, many years. And the association president called me later and said that she felt that her meeting was basically commandeered. And she did her best to explain everything. I had to leave because I had another meeting at 6:30 with the Clover Hill Pembroke Neighborhood Association. So I left at 6:30, and Lieutenant Trent came after me, and he said it had gotten kind of heated when he left. Well, nobody stormed out of any meeting, but the meeting was disrupted, and I introduced the new neighborhood resource specialist that will be assigned to the West Central Neighborhood Resource Center, who a part of his job is to work with neighborhood associations. I think it needs to be some education on the part of the staff in our housing department, which would basically fall to this new employee, and he will need some training in this. I did have an orientation with him, but I would like him, Mr. Moore, to make contact with all the neighborhood associations that are identified in Ward 6 to make sure that they understand that each one of them has their own neighborhood association, and it's not respectful for them to come to another neighborhood's meeting and take over the meeting or disrupt it, no matter what reason they have. So I think he will be an excellent person. He grew up in the John Barrow community. He's familiar with the neighborhood, but there are many different neighborhoods in that area. And I was told that these individuals actually tried to join the neighborhood association, that they didn't even live in that area. So I wanted to make that request of you so that the hard work that the John Barrow community residents have put in over all of these years is not disrespected, because elections come and go. And I explained to the president that after November 8th, she probably won't see these individuals again, but she did feel disrespected, and she felt that they did try to take over her meeting. And a lot of the questions that they had, they could have, if asked in a more respectful way, she felt. And I just wanted to bring that to your attention so that you can address it with staff, so that we maybe be able to get some communication out about decorum and how neighborhood associations are established in the city. I really appreciate that. And also, too, I want to bring up the fact that this coming Thursday night, Mayor, there's a workshop that's being sponsored by Simmons Financial. And I'm bringing this up because I don't want that workshop disrespected. This is something that I've been working on and trying to cultivate a relationship with a bank to locate in that corridor because it is a financial desert. And I don't want these individuals showing up at this meeting to disrupt it. Simmons has expressed the desire to have a relationship in that area, and it's very difficult to get banks to locate in low to moderate income areas. And I would like these individuals to be respectful of this community and what they have tried to do and over all of these years. And Mr. Moore knows, and my colleagues know, that the John Barrow neighborhood many years ago was written off. Now it seems to be ground zero for everything. But this will not be tolerated, and if they come in there with this, I would like them to be asked to leave, Mr. Moore, because this is for the community residents to come in and undergo a financial literacy training with Simmons Bank, not to campaign. So I would just appreciate that respect and some decorum. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Wright. Wyrick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Little birdie told me that we have a lot of cards for citizens' communications tonight. How many cards do we have?
Eight.
8 cards? Okay, so we should have time to get through everybody here to speak.
We should, yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's all I needed.
All right. Director Capiris.
Well, I've got a request after citizen communication. I wanted to ask something, or I can ask it now if you want me to. In our normal Sunday routine, Kathy and I get numerous notes and calls about caravanning. And we got one from Alice Cooner, and I asked her if I could read it to the board. And she said yes, and it said, hello, as I sit in my den with my windows open, I hear cars drag racing down Campbell yet again. I was out of town the rest of the weekend, but I've read over the reports that this practice went all over the city this weekend. I first reached out almost 2 years ago regarding the same issue. It seemed to improve for a short time, but after that time, it's gotten worse than I've ever seen it before. I really hope the city board is working to make these changes and do something about this senseless recklessness behavior before someone is killed. And I know that we heard the report and we have a problem with the number of policemen, but I would love for you to consider if we can get the state police to start helping us on that road at least.
Thank you so much. Director Webb.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have 2 questions and 2 announcements, and would you prefer to have them now or after citizen communication? Yeah. First of all, I hope that everybody will look at their Municipal League magazine, because on the cover of it this month is the field trip that we took to Mississippi, and the inside story is on page 24. So it's a very good article, and I'm glad to have the Municipal League engaged. And then second, on Friday, with my other work hat on, I will be with Director Miller part of the day in Ward 1. With my other hat, we have received a good size grant and are putting the money into the Oak Forest Community Garden in the University District. We'll be there most of the day, but at 10 o'clock, there'll be a press event to announce some of the things that are going on in the garden, and Director Miller will be one of the speakers. So I just wanted to extend the invitation to everybody. And then just from last week, we had some questions at the board meeting, and I wanted to follow up because our schedules are filling up quickly, and I wanted to ask if we had the date yet. And I guess, I'm not sure if these are for Manager Moore or for you, but if we had the date yet for the rest of the budget meeting. And I just also wanted an update. I think the police report that we got last week was really good. It's my understanding that it came in April, and I wondered what the reason for the lag time was. So to whomever those should be addressed. Thank you.
Sure. First, on the budget meeting, we haven't finalized the schedules yet, you're all right, but it will be done as quickly as possible, probably within the next 2 weeks or so. We'll try to get that scheduled, just working on schedules. So that's on that. As it relates to the report, if my memory is correct, it came sometime in April. Once it came, it took some time to do a review of it and for the officers to go over that review, to make any, not give feedback on it, not make any changes. Then it went back to the firm. Again, this is going from memory. Then it came back to us. Then there was a lag because I believe at one point in time, there was an issue with, we were going to have it scheduled, Mr. Moore, if I'm correct, if this is October, we had it actually scheduled in August. But at that point in time, whether it was late July, August, I believe it was originally scheduled after they got back. And at that point in time, the two interim chief and assistant chief were going to do the presentation in late July, early August. The reason why is because there was going to be an issue with the original contract. And we were able to figure out that issue with, basically, because it was not included that the chief that was here was not included, that process of presenting to the board was not included in their scope of work. And so that was the reason. So we had it scheduled in late July, August for our internal team to do it. We felt it was best to have the folks who actually did it do the presentation. Once we got that squared away, we had to work on the schedule of the presenter, and that's the reason why we got here today. So it was not intentional. Generally, when you get back, you have to let the team look at it before it's kind of a final release of it. We went back to them, they finalized it, got it back to us. I think late July, early August. LRPD leadership was gonna do it. We then decided that wasn't the best course, even though that wasn't the best course. And then also we understood that the scope of work was not included to do that presentation. We got that situated. We're able to get the presenter here. They presented in October based on scheduling.
Thank you.
Was there another question? Okay. Director Peck?
I'll wait till after citizens communication.
Well, if you want to just wait?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll take my hand down.
All right. Jimmy Cavan? Mr. Jimmy Cavan?
Mayor Scott, you talk about honest, open transparency, so I'm going to put you to the test on that tonight. On August 28th, 2016 at 3:23 a.m., Arkansas State Trooper Jay McAllister attempted to give you a breathalyzer test at the Sherwood Police Department using instrument number 011661, test number 020276, subject name, last name Scott, first name Frank, initial D, date of birth November 18th, 1983, driver's license number subject involvement, driver. That's a fact. There's no debating this record. Why did you refuse to take the test? You talk about open and honest transparency. There's no debate. This happened. You refused to take the breathalyzer test. Can you be open, honest, and transparent and explain to the public why you refused to take that test? August 28th. Go ahead, sir. August 28th, 2016, 3:23 a.m. Sherwood Police Department. Time of the incident started 1:32. Time to Jay McAllister attempted to give you that test was 3:23 a.m. you refused to take the test. Test concluded 3:26 a.m. with open, honest transparency. Could you please explain to the public why you refused to take that test? Mayor, there's no debate on this. It's a fact. So I'm asking you, you claim to be open, honest, and transparent. Please explain to the public why you refuse to take that test. I think the public deserves an answer.
Mr. Cavan, your time is up. Mr. Luke Scrabble.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me the privilege to exercise my First Amendment rights. Pot can't call the kettle black, and people who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. I found it very amusing after the Central Arkansas Library Mayor Forum that the mayor had accused his leading opponent in the race for the mayor that he was misrepresenting the truth and presenting false narratives. Yes, that's the pot calling the kettle black. Mayor, I have FOI'd and got the proof. I've sent it out to all the press, the Times. You came out to Southwest Little Rock on the 12th of September and said that you had been instrumental in bringing 8,000 jobs. I FOI'd that information at your bequest, and the evidence wasn't there. The city attorney said the evidence wasn't there, and I've been waiting for those records to prove that you have brought 8,000 jobs. There is records out there that we have 69 less jobs now, today, than when you started in office. So nobody likes a liar. Now, you keep on saying that violent crime is down. The upopulation.com showed in 2021, 4.14 violent crimes out of every 1,000. Today, it's 4.42. That's a 66% increase. In Southwest Little Rock, you had your chest all puffed out saying, oh, I've lived out here. I really care about Southwest Little Rock. The robberies that we have up this year are 65.64% in Southwest Little Rock. Rapes are up 14% in Southwest Little Rock. Right now, 64 murders, 65 murders. I don't know exactly. I couldn't get Chief Bewley today. The 5-year average is 40. That's a 58% increase. Rape is up by the 5-year average by 9% positive, 8% on robberies, and 13% on aggravated assault. If you compare the rates of crime today by the 5-year average, which you have been responsible for 46 of those 60 months, this is all on your watch. Now, Wallet Hub reports Little Rock has the highest crime rate per 1,000 residents.
Mr. Scrabble, your time is up.
State capital.
Mr. Scrabble, your time is up.
Thank you for embarrassing us, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Scrabble. Be blessed. William Cochran.
My name is William Cochran. I've been in the real estate industry over 50 years. Currently, I'm still a real estate broker. Last week, Director Peck asked the city manager about the micro home village. That prompted me to come and speak about the property at 3101 West 32nd Street, which sits on about 3.53 acre site with an 8,040 square foot building off Roosevelt, which is a perfect location for what the city is trying to do to end homelessness. Nobody wants these kind of projects in their neighborhood. Nobody wants them in a residential neighborhood. This is a perfect location for this project. Now, the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette would have you to believe that the appraisal of $65,000 is not misleading or biased. So I'll state the facts. There were several sales, $225,000 and $550,000 within the past 12 months. So we know the property was grossly underappraised. Land sales were found in close proximity that sold within the past 12 months, one for $85,000 on a 0.72 acre lot. The cost approach and income approach alone would bring the property in well over $450,000 based on the gross monthly income. I have a major issue with devaluing this property to not allow the micro village, own village to move forward. I'm just stating the facts. An investigation need to be done on why the property buyers devaluating the property by these appraisers. This may be misleading to the city and your decision on where you want to place this property. I know for a fact that they've looked east, west, north, and south to trying to find a location. All this money is government money. You got to spend it on this program. The city's not spending a lot of money on this program. So you need to move forward. This is the perfect location for the micro home village. It's located outside any residential district, located off any major thoroughfare to eliminate what we see today on the interstates and streets of Little Rock, located where the homeless individuals dwell, located close to services that homeless individuals can access. The city has a very big homeless issue. How do we solve it? You can start with developing the micro home village to house these homeless individuals. The city attorney has already said there was no conflict of interest in purchasing the property. The property was grossly underappraised by the sales found in the local MLS and county records similar to the property within the past 12 months.
Mr. Cochran, the time is up, but
I ask you to reconsider that project.
thank you, Mr. Cochran. Phyllis Rogers. Miss Phyllis Rogers.
I am Phyllis Rogers, and I am here with the Arkansas Association of the Realtors, and we are a member of the National Realtors Association, and we are members of NAREB. We are one of the oldest minority real estate trade associations in America with the motto and mission of democracy and housing. NAREB has been the voice of the Black real estate and real estate homeowners since 1947. What I came to speak about is the undervaluation of real estate. The undervaluation of real estate is not only a transactional issue, but it is an issue that impacts people of color. We find that when you're looking at home ownership and the disparity right now, 44% of Black homeowners own their homes, 48% Latino homeowners versus 74% of the white homeowners. This may not seem like very much, but this is telling us that there is something and some obstacles that are in our way when we are trying to obtain home ownership. African Americans have a tendency in the neighborhoods that appraisers go to, there's a tendency to make remarks in appraisals that can sometimes be biased. And this leads to not only a transactional issue, but this leads to a loss of equity. This leads to a loss of generational inheritance. This leads to a loss of the individuals having to go to their lenders and ask for the money to get the house purchased. And at that time, the down payment becomes more. The sellers have pulled out transactions. So we find that there is a bias that is in the appraisal process. It is not something that we can all handle on the local level, but I think all of us together should start striving to understand that appraisals do have a tendency to undervalue properties based on preconceived ideas before they go to the properties. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Rogers. Wanda Simpson.
I'm speaking on 3301 Broadway. I've been there for 48 years. And 30 years ago, they came out to put came out and put rocks and tar on our street instead of asphalt. In that area, in the other areas, they got asphalt. We get tar. And even then, that only, that only works that has been done since 30 years ago. We need drainage, we need curbs, we need sidewalks, and need asphalt. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Reverend Johnny Hassan.
Please correct. I'm a minister, but I do not choose to be reverend. Peace be upon you. Assalamu alaikum. I'm saying assalamu alaikum for the 64 people who we have allowed to pass. When I came to this board a few months ago, it was only 13. And we talked about the issue of the drug houses as well as the homicides. And one point of order that I made about the Jeffries building, you have abatement, criminal abatement bill under the Little Rock for Life. And I'm saying to you that most of us have discounted the information in the Little Rock for Life. What happened, the Jeffries building was taken off under the Stoller administration. Ken Richardson voted for, and Irma voted against it. But it was passed, the building should not have been abated. So that's one fact that I want to clear up. The other thing that I'll share with you is that we have $10,000 reward for homicides and so forth, et cetera. The city has not choose to do that. In our community, the field language is snitches get stitches. So therefore, there's no incentive to tell or to turn anybody in. The 60 shots, how I would redo is we pay more attention to 60 shots rather than getting 60 guns. There was a group that they decided they were going to have a gun buyback. Well, they got 40 guns. Well, in y'all new report, the 21, yes, here, the Little Rock Community Agency says, in doing Little Rock Partnership, have served and sponsored events such as gun buyback tickets to repertory theater, violence, and so forth. So my point is this is a recommendation from y'all 21 committee, and you refuse to do it. The basic right of a human being is the right to live. Not only do human beings have right not to be harmed, but to be safeguarded by violence.
Mr. Hassan,
Physical,
Mr. Hassan, the
otherwise.
time is up. Could you leave your paperwork to
No.
add it to the record?
You're gonna have to have the officer take me off the stage.
Mr.
Thou shalt not kill or
Mr.
take
Hassan,
life.
Mr. Hassan,
They have the
we gotta-
officer take me off the stage.
Mr. Hassan, we gotta respect the time.
I'll take the officer.
Mr.
have the
Hassan,
officer
we have
do
to
something.
respect the time.
I'm gonna read what I
Mr.
have.
Hassan, we have to respect the time.
Take the officer to come and take me off.
Mr.
That's how
Hassan,
you simple. That's simple. I just
Mr.
said,
Hassan,
have
we
the
respect-
officer. And on other
Mr.
reports,
Hassan, we'll
have
take
the
your,
officer come and
Hassan.
take me off.
Mr. Hassan,
Okay, I
Mr.
I
Hassan,
just repeated to you.
Mr.
We
Hassan,
had a gun buyback, right?
Mr. Hassan,
Yes.
we need you to stop.
I
You're
said, have
disrespecting.
an officer come and take me off, so it be on the record. Okay?
Let's stop, officer, if
Okay.
you would.
All the stakeholders,
Mr.
now, one of the things
we're
that
asking-
you have not did is declare the Center for Disease Control, okay? Center for Disease Control, okay. Thank you. That's my protest and my prayer for the 64 people that you concerned about 64 parks.
Thank you, Mr. Hassan. Thank you. Thank you, officers. He's fine. Valerie Williams.
Good evening. My name is Valerie Williams, and I live on 33rd and Broadway Street. I come with a few of my neighbors from the area because we are upset about the conditions on our streets. We've been filing complaints for years. I have a complaint from 2015, and I never got a response from no one. There are disabled people in wheelchairs who can leave their homes, who cannot leave their homes because there are no curbs or sidewalks and the road is run down. This is an accessibility issue. People should be able to go down their own street. There is also no drainage, so the water just sits there for days. It's gross and the mosquitoes pile up. Thank you, Director Miller and City Manager Bruce Moore. They came out personally and looked at the issues a couple of weeks ago. We appreciated that they took the time to come see us and made our voices heard. But we need to make sure that we are a priority. White neighborhoods get their needs met, but for some reason, we don't. That needs to end. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Williams. Members of the board, those are all of the citizens' communications items.
Leak had one, do you believe?
Let me make sure. You
How
are,
everybody doing?
Mr. Williams.
All right, I represent the South End community. I've been there all my life. And, like the park, we just had a park, probably introduced us about 12 years ago, Crunk Park. And, the lighting is terrible. It's no lighting. It's unsafe for the kids. When it get dark, you gotta tell the kids to come on. You know what I'm saying? They might have to come in early, like it get dark at 5 o'clock. Right now, it's pitch dark. In the back, you can't see nothing, and it's kind of dangerous. A bathroom over there, you know what I'm saying? But there's no lighting around the bathroom, so you cannot really send your kids. You got to make sure a dog go with them. And I've been dodging potholes in my neighborhood for about 30 years on bicycles, with cars. I'm tired of replacing front end linemen's, hitting potholes in the neighborhood. There's no sidewalks. Kids get off the school bus. They got to walk in the street you know what I'm saying? And sometimes it be elementary kids. They pretty small. So, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes, you know what I'm saying? You got to look out for the kids, stop to make sure that the kids cross the street, make sure they get home safe and all that. It's no sidewalks in the community at all. No streets had sidewalks at all. Like I say, the streets are terrible in the neighborhood. I might have seen, in 30 years, I might have seen 3 streets paved in my neighborhood in 30 years. And I think it's unfair to the neighborhood. We pay taxes just like everybody else. But our neighborhood been neglected for 30 years since I've been able to come off the porch. Our neighborhood has been neglected. So, you know what I'm saying? I hope some of this money consider to go to the South End community because we do really, really need it. And that's all I got to say.
Thank you so much, Mr. Simmons, and I do apologize for missing your card. Mr. Williams, I'm sorry. Director Peck?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to move that we go into executive session to discuss a personnel matter.
All right.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Ayes
Nay.
have it.
You get my name?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
We need to do a roll call.
Director Miller,
Aye.
Director Richardson,
Nay.
Director Webb,
Aye.
Director Peck,
Aye.
Director Wright, Director Wyrick, Director Campuris, Director Phillips, Director Adcock, Vice Mayor Hines.
Yes.
8 ayes, 1 nay, and 1 absent.
And Mayor, we're gonna do this the same way. I just gotta turn on my phone and go to a corner. You guys.
Yeah, I'll just call you.
Okay.
Now coming back from executive session where there was no action taken on any personnel matters. Yes, Director Beers.
I had Ashley send y'all a very simple to read article from Time Magazine about the pandemic and the new variants that are coming this fall. We just need to be real careful about what we do and the potential. So read the article.
You have a motion, Director Hines?
Yeah. Mayor, when can we expect some more information on the funds raised in conjunction with the LitFest contract with Think Rubik's? I've got a disturbing report which prompted some phone calls on Channel 7's media that Think Rubik's told them yesterday that they were going to get with the sponsors who had donated the money to seek how that money was to be used. And at the time it was solicited, they were under contract with the city, and we have yet to get an accounting of anything money raised, money spent per that contract was supposed to be deposited with the city. And I'm wondering when we can expect something. And I would like to ask the city attorney's office, do we need to get a temporary restraining order or something in order to get those records as soon as possible?
It's my understanding that those will be provided as soon as possible. We'll get that follow-up to you. Director Campuris, your hand still up?
That was it. I
All right.
move we adjourn.
Hey, Mayor,
Just a
I
second.
second that, please. I second
All right.
that.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Oh my God.